Hello and welcome back to the Draw Pod. It's me, your host, Elyse. In this episode, I'll be chatting while doing some drawings of dogs. If you're new here, this is a visual podcast where I draw something and chat with you as I go. You really don't have to watch the video to know what's going on, and if you prefer to listen to it on a podcast app, it's available everywhere. If you do want to watch the YouTube video, though, check out my channel, which is linked in the description of this podcast. And if you would like to see the final image, the final result, check out my art Instagram, which is at Elyse_draws. In this episode, as I mentioned, I'll be drawing some pictures of little pups, some doggos. The main topic of the episode is why I enjoy waking up early, and for me, these two kind of go hand in hand. I wake up every morning. I have woken up every morning since pretty much mid-March to walk my dogs, Lacey and Cora, around the neighborhood, and I started doing this because of the heat of just living in Texas, but also it's really fit in well with my morning person tendencies, and I've become the morning person woman I've always wanted to be. So, but before I get into all of the reasons why I love waking up early, let's cover my life update, something new I learned, and what I'm reading. So as for my life update, I have been doing very well. I got really far ahead on filming YouTube videos. I got like 3 videos ahead and pre-filmed, so I can chill for this month, seriously, which is pretty cool. I do have to do podcasts, but anyway, I will probably continue to make videos to stay ahead just because that's kind of how I am, but it feels good to have that done. So very happy about that. I'm also enjoying not stressing about applying to jobs on LinkedIn. I've mentioned before that I've just made the executive decision to stop applying to jobs on LinkedIn because I have been scammed because of it. Well, I never actually fell for the scam, but you know what I mean. I was offered basically a fake interview and answered a lot of questions for them, and then they offered me a job, but it wasn't a real job. So that was lame. But also just kind of being on LinkedIn all the time was not really great for my brain and feeling good. So I've deleted it from my phone and I don't go on it as much, and I've been feeling so much better. So if you're feeling stressed out about LinkedIn stuff, I'd highly recommend limiting your time and access to the app. But it's still definitely a useful resource for finding people to network with, so it's fine. I'm also so excited for fall. That's something I'm very pumped about. I've always really enjoyed fall. Granted, it probably did start a lot whenever I went through my preppy kind of phase in high school because, you know, preppy girls love fall. And then for a while, it was like cool to hate on people for liking fall, which is lame. But I'm definitely fully embracing it this year and just enjoying a change of season because it feels like summer has been going on for so many months because of, you know, the pandemic. So really excited for it. I went to Bath & Body Works to buy my favorite candle from there, which is Leaves. And I wasn't able to pick it up last year because I was just too late. Although it was like late October and maybe it was like early November, but I went into the store to go and buy one of the Leaves candles and they were like, oh no, these have already sold out. Or like, basically they were like, you're dumb for thinking you could get a fall candle in fall. I don't know. It was annoying. But I got this candle and I've been kind of enjoying fall stuff lately because it does really bring me back to being in high school and some of the good memories of times that I had then. And that's kind of a weird kind of self-care thing that I've been doing lately, which is just really focusing on kind of triggering some past positive memories through scent or smell or sound. I said scent or smell. Through scent or sounds or places or kind of visuals. Like I'll listen to a Taylor Swift album, either Red or 1989, because they both kind of remind me of really positive times in the past. I have my sunscreen that smells like Spain. Anyway, I've just been trying to find ways to find a lot of happiness and comfort in these experiences that I've had in the past. So, and getting that candle and enjoying fall is just part of it. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it for my life update. I've also kind of accepted that I love illustration, and that's probably one I wouldn't pursue, so I'm going to try and put more effort into that. As for something new that I learned this week, I learned that I love greeting cards so much, and if I'm feeling sad, I should just hang out in that section of HEB. I was there with my mom the other day, and she was looking for a card and just meandering about, kind of taking a while, so I also meandered about and looked at some cards, and there's there are two that really stick out to me in particular. I love this series of cards that I've just discovered that is a series. So it's like this fish that the first one I saw was a fish with a graduation cap on his head. And it says on the inside, here's your graduation cod, as in the cod fish, which I just loved that. I thought it was very funny. And then I discovered at the store that they have another version for another season or event, occasion, and it's the same fish, exact same design, but with, a different costume on. So, I don't know, maybe he was dressed as, a vampire or something. Anyway, it said, here's your Halloween cod. So, that just made me giggle a lot. I also, speaking of animals dressed up as Dracula, vampires, there's another one that I really loved that was it's this pig wearing a vampire costume, and it has cute little teeth added to it. It's just a little piglet, and it says boo, and on the inside of the card it just says happy Halloween. So I just think that's, first of all, the pig was super cute with his little teeth and his little outfit. It was so precious. But then also the fact that there wasn't even a pig related pun that was Halloween related as well on the inside of it. It was just a cute pig. That was the whole thing of it. So I loved that. That was so cute. And yeah, so I need to go to the greeting card section of the store if I'm ever feeling down. So as for a book update, I finished reading the second Alphas book, which was fabulous as usual. They are very cringy, but also very wonderful. And I love the kind of imaginary world that you can create in a YA novel. And it's kind of just unapologetic. You don't have to, really abide by standards or worry about, not finishing storylines or anything. It's just, it doesn't matter because it's a YA book, and kids aren't really going to notice any weird minor details and holes in the plot, but I really enjoy it. Will I continue reading the series? Probably, but I'm trying to read some adult books in the time being because I just need to take a break from them. I can really finish them in about a few hours, so I'm trying to read some other stuff because I have a pretty long reading list. Again, add me on Goodreads if you haven't already. But the other book that I'm kind of on right now, the more adult book for big kids, is The Renaissance Soul. And I think I like it. It's pretty self-helpy, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I think I have basically what it's about, if you haven't kind of put this together yet, but it's about there are some people very much like myself who have a wide variety of interests and want to pursue all of them and want to pursue several of them at one time, seriously, not just kind of, I like to sometimes tend to my garden on the side. No, these people, we're very interested in every single kind of thing we do. So I really identify with a lot of the things in the book. I've kind of already established that I will be prioritizing all of my interests that I have, and I've identified them. So I'm hoping that later on in the book, once I get a little further, I can kind of gather some more good wisdom. But it's been I haven't made any major life realizations or career realizations yet, but it's kind of nice, I guess, to read that this is a common thing and that other people have figured out how to pursue all of their passions and still make money and things like that. So, and that there are a lot of different paths for me to go down with pursuing my passions. Maybe they talked about, you could be an umbrella type of person with your careers. And for that, it would be I would be called for example, a graphic designer. But under that, I would be doing several other things that aren't necessarily related to graphic design, but you have one word, or your name is designer. And then everything under it, it can be all of the copywriting that you do, actual design work, some illustration and art, and just going under the kind of title of designer. And then they have other things where you should have like a job, what they talk about, and it's like that's a way to make money, but it's also a way for you to follow your passions. Anyway, I'm enjoying the book. We'll see if it changes my life and helps me really realize a ton of stuff about myself and figure out what the heck I'm doing with my career. Because if you can't tell, I still don't know what the heck I'm doing with my career, but I do like illustration a lot. So we're going to maybe talk about that again in a future episode, but I have a feeling that illustration is the main kind of path I want to go down. Anyway, so getting into the kind of specific episode topic that I wanted to cover today is why I like waking up early. So if you're new here, haven't heard about my kind of sleep schedule, morning routine, all that kind of stuff, I wake up at around 6 to 6:30 every single morning, and I've been doing this since March whenever I had to come home from college because of the pandemic. But I've been doing it for a long time. My internal clock refuses to let me wake up past like 6:45, but yeah, and I do this because my dogs deserve walks and I need exercise too, but it is way too hot in Texas at literally any other time of the day. I know I could go on a walk in the evening, but I just don't really like that, and it's still hot. There's still a ton of residual heat, so I go at around, just sometime in like the 6 o'clock, sometimes a little bit into the 7 o'clock hour, and I just walk my different routes that I go on. It's really fun. And it's just nice to have my first part of my day be exercise, which is what I did whenever I was in college. I still tried to wake up really early in college, but it's really hard to do, especially because I was a part of a sorority and, we might have events or meetings or just things like that going on. I also just, tried to have a bit of a social life and spend time with friends. And most of my friends are not really down to also, hit the hay at around 9:30 and wake up at 6 in the morning. And, people like staying out. That's just the culture. And that's kind of what I had to adapt to in college. But I am definitely really enjoying not being in college and in that environment anymore because of kind of being able to be on my natural schedule, which seems like it works really well for me, and not kind of having to go off of what other people's general schedules are. I also like having a head start to the day. I feel like I am absolutely most productive in the morning. I am a big morning person. I have so much energy when I wake up. Now, I will kind of crash if I'm not doing something, like if I were to wake up at 6 every morning and not go for a walk, I think I would have a really hard time staying up because, I have about like 20 or 30 minutes of like a ton of energy. And I'm jumping around, and then I might crash if I don't do something. So yeah, it's just nice, and I like being up before everyone. I don't really know how to explain like why I like the feeling of being ahead of the everyone else, but I mean, as I mentioned, I am like 3 videos ahead on filming for my YouTube channel, so I think I just like to be ahead. That's just my thing. And then also, yeah, with dogs, kind of jumping back into that and what I'm drawing in this episode. If you're just listening to it, I am drawing a series of puppies. I will introduce them to you. I can't really, from where I'm recording right now, I can't really specifically point out where they are, what they look like, but anyway, we've got Lacey. We've got 2 drawings of Lacey, who is my sweet puppy that is a Border Collie Lab mix. She's great. I have 2 of Cora, and those were really funny to me. My favorite drawing was this one of her on there that's just, she looks so excited. I love it so much. And then I also have a feature of Donnie, which is my boyfriend's dog, and also Maggie May, which is one of my grandparents' dogs. So I loved drawing these. They were so much fun, and they're so cute, and I've been really trying to lean into my illustration-y skills a lot lately, and kind of I always have this inclination to draw things not like realistically, but how I want to interpret them, but I'm kind of having to kind of take that mental break from what I know and what I want to do and how I actually see things, if that's making any sense. But I really enjoyed doing these dogs, doing portraits of them for this draw pod. And actually, I am at the end of this sketchbook, which I flipped through it the other day, and it's so exciting that I filled up so many pages of it. I started working on this sketchbook, I think, at the kind of around March time. It was originally supposed to be a sketchbook to practice drawing portraits, but that just didn't really work out because I had to just, I bought it before I had to go home from college, and then I did go home from college, and then I didn't want to buy a new sketchbook. I didn't want to go out and buy one or anything, so I just turned this into my main sketchbook. So I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of the work that I've done, especially from the DrawPod entries. This has been a great opportunity for me to practice my skills and create spreads in my sketchbook, and also practice these illustration skills. Like I was mentioning, that I'm kind of just sort of, I don't think I'm anywhere close to like finding my style, which I've heard you shouldn't even really think about that too much. You should just create what feels good to you, and then eventually you'll kind of lean into things and find it. But I'm really excited to see what I continue to create. That also reminds me, this is we're getting on a tangent, but you already get it. I like waking up early and I like dogs. But this other tangent is that I today noticed, because I'm recording this on Labor Day, but I noticed that Jerry's Artorama was having this gigantic sale for Labor Day. And so I ended up walking away with like $150 gouache for like $25. So quite a steal. I bought a lot of new brushes, and I don't know if I've mentioned this on the pod before. I think I did on my Instagram. I am not the most talented gouache painter. So I really kind of bought this because, well, one, I just want to improve my skills, and kind of, if you buy something, you feel bad about not using it. So it kind of forces you into playing with it and learning it. So I'm dedicated to figuring that out. But I also stole some gouache. I'm not going to say stole. I just haven't returned it yet from my art department because of the pandemic. I had to finish up some projects, and I was using a little bit of gouache in it. So I just kind of took it home with me, and then I just kind of never brought it back. But now that I will be acquiring my own lovely set of gouache, I should probably return it. So I'm very, very excited to now have that coming, and I got those brushes, and I got this little palette for paint. So I am dedicated to building my skills as an illustrator, because I think that's probably what I want to do, as I've mentioned before, and I'm just really excited to get to work on it. I'm also going to be doing the Peachtober prompts. That's something that's been really helpful for me, is I am all over the place. The other thing that's been very helpful for me is watching the Furry Little Peach, her YouTube videos and her studio vlogs, and she has all these Q&As. She's an amazing illustrator, and I would love to just be just like her and have a wonderful studio space and just getting a lot done and getting all these cool assignments from these big clients, and really leaning into your illustration style and having companies and other people really appreciate you for your own way of doing things and own way of drawing and creating. So I've been watching a lot of her videos when I kind of need to get in the mood to create, but she released all of her prompts for Inktober, but it's called Peachtober, which I also recently learned about the whole Inktober issue. I'm not going to get into that, but if you look up like Inktober legal issues, it's very interesting. But Peachtober, we've got some lovely prompts like home, egg, raccoon, sword, wood, bugs. Anyway, so I'm going to try and keep up with that in the month of October and kind of do some sketches throughout September to prepare me for that. But that's kind of an interesting, fun illustration experiment that I'm going to try soon. So anyway, I have jumped all over the place, rambled a lot, but I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you learned something, if you enjoyed it, let me know. Make sure to give this podcast a rating if you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, or if you're listening to it on YouTube, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're not already. I really appreciate you listening and spending time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.